this morning at 7 a.m. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Our orders.
Morning.
Our invocation this morning will be led by Lenhart.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, on this glorious day, let us take the opportunity to focus our appreciation on the wonders of technology which has brought us together virtually from the safety of our homes and sometimes our businesses. We all enjoy the fruits of the labors of the internet developers, which include Vincent Cerf, Bob Hahn, and Tim Berners-Lee, pioneers in hypertext and ARPANET, respectively. May each of us do all the good we can with the skills we develop through this club. As they say, I have faith too. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Len. All right. Ask everybody to mute their mics for our pledge today. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. Are there any announcements from the floor this morning? Kate?
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, this evening is our second speech-a-thon. It's the last Thursday of the month. Please let me know if you would like to speak and hope to see you there. We'll follow it with the social hour as always. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Kate? Sylvia?
No, just a reminder regarding dues. Please, you could pay through PayPal or mail me a check. You have the information there on your invoice, how you could pay. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Are there any other announcements from the floor? All right. Before I forget, our Toastmaster for next week is Thomas Heldwine, and I know he'll have a theme in the coming days, so I just want to give him a brief heads up. And without any further delay, I'll turn things over to our Toastmaster of the day, Jill Roy.
That would be me. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, and it doesn't look like we have any guests at this point. I chose the theme today of Just Feed the Birds. I actually chose it about a month ago. Last weekend was a big birding weekend around here in Western New York. There was the Birds on the Niagara Festival, which up until this year, it's been held physically in locations. This year it was done virtually, just like everything else is being done. And the other thing that went on last weekend was a worldwide thing called the Backyard Bird Count, where they encourage the organizers at Cornell Lab of Ornithology, encourage you as backyard scientists to spend 15 minutes, hopefully over the course of 4 days, several times, observing birds at your bird feeders or any place else, and documenting what birds you see and the location, all that sort of thing. It's a way for them to keep track of what's available, what's out there. I saw the numbers of how many had reported in as of Sunday, I think it was, and it was in the millions, which is pretty amazing. There's that many bird observations. But I think I contributed at least 9 or 10 over the course of the weekend, so it's easy enough to happen. I have several roles here going on today. And we'll start with Wordmaster, which is Gerald Stevens. What word did you choose today, Mr. Stevens?
Morning, fellow Toastmasters. Along with the theme today, the word of the day is flutter.
Okay.
It could be a verb to flap, flop, toss around, like the bird flutters around. Or it could be a noun. He nervously fluttered into the room full of anticipation, his heart all aglow. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much. What a wonderful word as we flutter through our meeting today. Our master is Tom Moran. Tell us your job.
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Well, imagine my surprise when I saw that I was the wizard today. I was all a flutter, and I got so excited. Well, I'm going to,
Very good.
given that I have a bird's eye view of everyone here on my screen, I am tuned my ear to ahs, ums, and pregnant pauses today, and I will be noting them, Madam Toastmaster, with the name according to who spoke them. And when you call on me later in the meeting, I'll be making my official report. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tom. I'm assuming you already got me for one or two.
I do.
Our grammarian for today is Carol Ann Halstead. What's your job today, Carol Ann? Unmute yourself.
Today, I will be listening to everyone and noting examples of good grammar and maybe not so good grammar, and any notable phrases that anybody uses. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Carol Ann. Our quote master for the day is Larry McKenzie. Give us something to think about here.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I was quite fluttered this morning when I realized that I was the quote master. I eagerly went to my computer and had to find some famous people that had some great bird quotes. So here we go. It's just a job. Grass grows, birds fly, waves pound the sand, and I beat people up. Muhammad Ali. I also have another great poet. Bob Dylan said, "No one is free. Even the birds are chained to the sky." And we'll end with a quote by Henry Van Dyke. This one will make you think. Use what talents that you possess. The woods would be very silent if no birds sang, except for those that sang the best. Henry Van Dyke. Madam Toastmaster, back to you.
Yeah, I think the birds would be having a competition as to who had the best singing at that point. Our jester for the day is Eric Schneider. Mr. President, give us a joke.
And Toastmaster, I got several jokes for our thing today. So let's flutter right into the bird jokes. What do you call a chicken in the 1960s? A funky chicken. What is green and pecks on trees? Woody the wood pickle.
Oh,
Well, here's one more. I know Dave's clapping somewhere. Anyway, why did the little bird get in trouble at school? Because he was caught tweeting on a test.
oh.
Tweeting on a test. Man, Toastmaster.
Okay. With that, Dave Licata, tell us what you will be doing as timer.
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters and guests. I must admit that my heart went all aflutter yesterday because, first of all, while I was tending to my sidewalk, I heard a bird song that I did not recognize. So I guess that would be my assignment to find out, gee whiz, I got a new bird in the neighborhood. And then I saw two, not one, but two flights of geese, Sirius, the big V formation. So I think that's a harbinger of spring. But listen, everybody, you have to pay very close attention because as I've said many times during the era of Zoom, that this is like television. So pay close attention. That means you've reached your goal. This means wrap it up.
Oh.
And this means you're done. All right, so we're going to use 3 hand signals today, 3 television hand signals, because this is more like TV than it being at Tom's Diner. So once again, you're there, wrap it up, finish it up. Thank you very much, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Dave. That will make things interesting for people today to pay attention. I have a feeling Len will do the traditional changing of the backgrounds though, because that's what he does.
Yes.
Our tech and gesture master for today is Jen Zapla. Jen, give us your job.
Yes, I will be your tech and gesture master today. So I will be observing everyone's body language from the whatever view you have in your camera, mainly just your head, and how they work with technology. So for example, if you wanted to share your screen, this is a lovely picture of a bird, a flutter, that I took in the Galapagos. Can you believe it? It's an owl, a diurnal owl. Apparently they have those in the Galapagos, and it landed in front of me. Sadly, I'm not as much of a bird watcher as Jill. I think she would have enjoyed it a bit more than me. But if you are using your gestures and your technology today, I will be letting you know how you did. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. I actually have some friends from my church who went to Cuba 2 years ago in a bird watching expedition thing. They saw, I think, about 150 birds, different kinds of birds in their week there. Our quiz master, we do not have it yet at this point. That's my little bit of housekeeping, which I should have done first thing. Is anybody volunteer to be a quiz master? Katie.
Do it.
Katie's volunteering. Okay, thank you, Katie.
Thank
Tell
you,
us
Madam Toastmaster. This is a fantastic theme. I'm excited about this today. I'll come up with some kind of questions. So listen carefully all meeting. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Yes,
I will flutter back to my mute now.
Okay, thank you, Katie. After I put the theme up, I had a couple of people respond with me about birds that they had, about their bird feeders and that sort of thing. One of which was Katie's mother, Beth, who couldn't be here today, but she gave me quite a rundown of what they have at their feeder. Our next job, our last job for the day, that's an all-over job, is our general evaluator, Mike Licata. Mike, what is your job?
Good morning, Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. This morning, my job will be to evaluate the evaluators, the Toastmaster, and the overall tone of the meeting as we all flutter along this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. And in Toastmasters, we have what we call table topics, which is impromptu speaking, where somebody is called on to talk about something that they generally have very little knowledge of ahead of time, at least of what they were going to be speaking about. Our table topics master today is TRACY FARRELL. Go for it, Tracy.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. As you all know, Table Topics is your chance to talk for 2 minutes about an answer question that you have no ideas coming at you. So I'm going to start with Muklas. Muklas, there's a difference between bird watching and birding. Apparently bird watching is sitting at your kitchen table and watching the birds flutter around your bird feeder. But birding is actually getting in your car and driving 2 hours to find those particular birds. Which type of person are you? You need to unmute.
I love the sound of flutters, especially it reminds me that the spring is coming because birds usually become more aware of coming weather. Since as a child, I always wanted to be bird. Why? Because they fly and I love flying. I mean, I couldn't imagine myself to be anything but a bird because they have the freedom to explore the whole area, fly from place to place. And even like Canadian geese go all the way down to the South America to adjust to the weather. I believe I am more bird watching because I think you enjoy the sound. You really feel, I mean, I remember a friend of mine bought an apartment in New York City, and the first thing he said, I never heard birds until I got to this place because there is a little park and they could hear the birds flutter and chatter and sing. And that is an amazing side of high quality of life. I mean, those of us who take it for granted, it's not so for many people who live in urban cities. I'm trying to find Dave Licata. Okay, I see him. So birding is some friends go with Twitter and go to different parts of the area to find a specific bird. I have friends who really love Twitter for just one reason. They are passionately involved in birding. For me, I am a back home watching, listening to the songs and enjoying the birds flutter. Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Muklas. Sylvia Baptiste, there you are. So I know that everybody here has gone to Reed's Diner. It's an iconic outdoor diner here in the city of Lockport. Some of us might not. One of the things that they're well known for is the pigeons outside. And when I used to bring my son there, he would throw more French fries to the pigeons than he would actually eat. Do you enjoy watching the pigeons eat your French fries, or do you find this a disgusting habit? Sylvia.
Wow, thank you for the opportunity of speaking this morning. I don't like birds while I'm eating outside. I have to tell you, it's a little scary. I keep thinking of the Alfred Hitchcock movie, The Birds Attacking, you know, it's awful. But bringing kids there, they do love it. It's something, it's an adventure for them, feeding them, and they're out there trying to imitate and flutter their arms around like a bird running up and down. And Reed's, I hate to tell you, is not one of my favorite places in Lockport. I've been to others that I like outside eating. People yell at me at work about that, but I do like their milkshakes. The back to your question though, as like I said, the birds, I had a little experience this past week. I was walking through a parking lot and it was getting dusk, the sun was down, and these flock of birds just missed me because I could hear them swoop right by me. It was really interesting. It's like, and I was watching them, and there was probably about 10 of them, and they were in a V shape, but they were not geese or anything. They were big blackbirds. So that that was kind of interesting and the sign of spring to me, seeing birds. I like, usually in the morning, going to work, you could hear the geese fly by. And that was pretty interesting. And they always gave me the good feeling for the whole day that spring was coming after a cold, long winter. And I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Sylvia. Margot, I'm going to end with you. You live out in the country, and I'm sure that you have plenty of birds out there. Do you have a bird feeder? And if so, do you like to attract a particular type of bird to your bird feeder?
Thank you, Tracy, for this opportunity to speak. No, I don't do anything with birds out here. We did when the kids were little, but I relieved myself of all bird duties when my daughter bought me a bird for my birthday. She bought me a cockatiel, and it flew around our house, and it flittered and it fluttered and it did all kinds of wonderful things. It sang, it talked to me. Now you might wonder why my daughter thought I wanted a bird. She wanted a bird. And so when I was gone one day, she convinced her father, who was flat on his back with an injury, to get up out of bed, drive her to Wilson, and buy a bird for her mother's birthday. I came home to that as a wonderful surprise. It is a wonderful story. Actually, for those, I'm seeing faces of people who don't remember when I told the story in Toastmasters. So sometime I will have to tell you the story of my bird, Corky, and my challenges with having a bird in the house when you have cats, a dog, and 3 children who think the bird is absolutely wonderful. And unfortunately, my screen just changed, so Dave is not there. I'm hoping Len was going to be changing his screen to tell me if I'm on time. But Corky was a wonderful bird for my daughter. So in case you're wondering how I dealt with my daughter, I did not punish her for getting me a bird. For her birthday, I bought a dishwasher. Yeah, and it was delivered and installed on her birthday. So that is my experience with a bird named Corky, because he was a pretty bird. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Margot. Sir Timer, can you tell us how everybody did?
I am happy, Madam Table Topics Master, to report that my frantic gestures have put people ahead of schedule, but on time, because if you're not early, you're late. First thing, Madam Topics Master, you and I have to do a little housekeeping. Those are not pigeons it reads, those are goddamn seagulls, and but you are right, both pigeons and seagulls are merely rats with wings. So you and I are in complete agreement. Muckless, 215.05, he qualified. Sylvia, 149.91, she qualified. And Margot, 139.05. They all qualified. So vote away, pick your favorite table topic speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dave. Before we vote, we need to find out from Dr. Gerald Stevens if everybody used the word of the day.
Thank you, Tracy. In regards to table topics, I have Mokla saying the word of the day, Margot saying the word of the day. I don't know if I heard Sylvia. Did anybody else hear Sylvia? Hear a nod. Jackie said it? Jackie said she did? Okay, great. So she did as
it
well.
right in there. It was a very subtle one. It wasn't obvious.
Yeah, but she's disqualified because she doesn't like reeds. She's out of here.
She likes their milkshakes.
Oh,
Never
okay.
been to Reeds. What does that make me?
Are you kidding me?
Dave's got the cutthroat attitude going on today. Mafiosa Dave.
They're gonna have to do a road trip.
In other parts of the meeting, the word was also used. Tom used it, Larry used it, Dave used it, Jen and Katie. Good job so far. Continue. I did accept a flutter as well as a variant.
I had it too, Dr. Gerald.
All right. Look forward to seeing it more in the meeting.
Thank you. Can I make a suggestion that someday when we open up, we have one of our meetings at Reed's?
Yeah, picnic tables, it's good.
That's right.
Social distance. Or not.
We should do it in
It's 7, 8.
February. That'll be fun.
Where, what?
So we should do it in February. That'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Just bring your umbrellas.
Yeah. Okay, I think we're done with table topics. Hopefully everybody voted. So I have 3 different spots where I have bird feeders out here outside our windows. One is that I can see from our breakfast table. That one doesn't get a lot of action anymore because I put better feed out at the other 2 locations. And I'm looking right now and there's nothing there. There was a rat with a pretty tail there a few minutes ago, otherwise known as a squirrel. I have a influx of them around here too. Otherwise, if you look in the background and Steve moves his head, brings out the picture. That picture right there is of a red-bellied woodpecker on one of my suet feeders. And I will change it to another picture while we are speaking next time. Now we will go into our speaker part of the meeting. And our first evaluator is Marty Johnston. So Marty, tell us about who you are evaluating.
Yes, thank you, Jill, Madam Toastmaster. This morning, I will be evaluating our first speaker, Anne-Marie Lenhart. Anne-Marie will be giving her icebreaker in the innovative planning path. And the purpose of her project is for her to introduce herself to the club and to learn the basic structure of a public speech. The time is 4 to 6 minutes. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Marty. Anne-Marie Lenhart with her title Is There Life After DTM? Anne-Marie, take it away.
Good morning, Toastmasters and fellow Toastmasters. The question of the day is there life after DTM? First, I really want to congratulate all our newly minted DTMs. And, you know, that's incredible that we had 5 last year. What a club. So much determination and hard work. So I'm sure many of you can relate to the question of, is there life after DTM? Last week, Dave Licata said something very important, and that is Toastmaster is not a sprint, but it's really a marathon. So I can really relate to this comment because, believe it or not, I joined Toastmasters in 2001. So if you calculate the years, it only took me 20 years to complete my DTM. Whew, I guess I must be a really slow learner. So now, to be honest with you, I procrastinated over the year going into the website to see what Pathways was all about. I learned that there were 11 different programs. I talked to a national representative. I took the test, and finally, phew, I chose a pathway, innovative planning. So congratulations to myself. I really made the decision. Now, to be honest with you, I'm really less thrilled with the new program, and I'm trying to bite my tongue and not be judgmental, but as a baby boomer and not a millennium, or God forbid, a Generation X person, I'd rather have a book in my hand that I can hold and touch and smell rather than be on the internet with all this digital stuff. So that really dates me. So here I am, another icebreaker after all these years on my maiden voyage into unknown waters with all you wonderful people once again. So my goals for today are simple. First, I want to share with you my story of how I joined Toastmasters, and I call that the cloud with the silver lining. Second, I want to summarize some of the obstacles and some of the successes along the way, and I call that the upward climb from fear to courage. And third, I want to share with you some of my goals in the Pathway program as I go along. And I call that from cradle to grave, or as Moklis put it last week so eloquently, simply the art of lifelong learning. So it all started with a phone call in May of 2001. Hello? Yes? You want me to do what? Where? When? Do a keynote address at a New York counselor's convention in New York City? You gotta be kidding. My heart was fluttering around. Boy, what a joke. I said, no, absolutely not. And they said, think about it. So, well, lo and behold, a week later, the advertisement came out. I was in the book as the main speaker, and I was committed, but I was really scared to death. I thought about what Jerry Seinfeld once said, that the number one fear for Americans is public speaking, even over death. He said, next time you walk into a funeral home, know that most of the people in the room would rather be in the coffin rather than giving the eulogy. So what I did was I Googled public speaking and I Googled fear. Toastmasters came up, Toastmasters International, 8,700 clubs, 30 countries, a team approach to public speaking. I found AM Lockport Toastmasters and Harry Carlson, and I joined the group, and I figured, hey, I had 5 months before the public event. I was in good shape. Well, guess what, folks? I was wrong. TM, as Dave Licata said, is not a sprint, but truly it is a marathon. So in September of 2001, I went to the conference, hid behind the podium, eyes focused down for the whole speech, and I read the whole speech. Boring, 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 I want to say. The content was good, maybe, and I'm a teacher, so I have to grade this a B+. The delivery sucked. It was about a D- going toward an F. So fast forward to my second point, the upward climb from fear to courage. Uh-oh, folks. Yikes, another phone call. 2003, I said, hello? Do you want me to do what? Where? When? You got to be kidding. Could I serve as a New York trainer for a 2-hour mandated certification course for educators and healthcare workers? What? 6 presentations a year to audiences ranging from 50 to 200 participants, both Canadians and Americans? You got to be kidding. Well, partially due to my Toastmaster training, I reluctantly but courageously accepted the job. So I served as a New York trainer for 6 sessions for 15 years, would you believe, from 2003 to 2017. At first, my content was good, again, A, B+ range, but my delivery really was poor, again, a D-. So as I first hid behind the podium, clicked away happily at my PowerPoint presentations with half the audiences asleep. The only reason they were really still there was because they want the certification program. So gradually I learned to step out from the podium, engage the audience, and I could speak with confidence. And as my confidence grew, my fears and anxieties decreased. My delivery became a lot better, about a B range. So the story continues, and I still do public speaking at the local and national level. So thanks again, TM Lockport Toastmasters, for all the amazing supportive feedback I got all the year. I really went from fear to courage. Guess what, folks? Another phone call. Yikes. My heart was fluttering. Oh, this time it's just my husband, Dwayne. Yo, man, what's up? I said. Anne Marie, one question I have. What are you still doing going to these TM Toastmasters meetings over all these years? I guess I want to be a better speaker. A roaring laugh, the phone shaking at the other end. He said, at your age, with your experience, stop being so anal and be more spontaneous. Wow, he hit me right between the eyes. Do it because you love the club, you love the people, and it's a lot of fun. So folks, here I am. I think you're stuck for another 20 years, turning another page, going to another chapter in my TM journey with all you wonderful people, because after all, Toastmasters is not a sprint, but a lifelong learning marathon. Thank you.
Thank you, Anne Marie. I have enjoyed my time in Toastmasters, and I have to say that coming into Lockport, AM Lockport, was one of the best things I've done in my life. After Steve, among other things. I changed my background picture. If you look there and Steve stays out of the picture, that's a picture of a pileated woodpecker at one of my suet feeders. Pileated woodpeckers are the biggest woodpeckers that we have around here. In fact, they're the biggest ones there are. There is supposedly an ivory build, which they presume to be extinct. They make a very loud clacking noise, you might say. It's very distinctive once you identified it. Our next evaluator is Mark Campos. Mark, tell us what Ryan is doing.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, good morning. Ryan is embarking on a new journey this morning. He is beginning work on the Persuasive Influence Pathway, Level 1, and we are going to hear his icebreaker. The purpose of his speech, or the purpose of this project, is for the member to introduce himself to the club and learn the basic structure of a public speech. This being certainly not his first icebreaker, we will hold him to time. Mr. Timer, his time will be 4 to 6 minutes. As an aside, Mr. Timer, and in this digital world we live in, I find it refreshing the very analog approach you're taking to the timing job this morning. Excellent job. And Madam Toastmaster, do you have the title?
Yes, I do.
Okay, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mark. Ryan Floor, with his title is Jumping In. Go ahead, Ryan.
A lot's gone on the last near 33 years. A lot of changes, a lot of new experiences. Heck, I started with 0. I want you all to picture yourselves at this diving board. It's sunny out. You're expecting a good time. You start walking to the edge of it. There might be a small flutter in your heart, but for the most part, you know you're about 2 feet above the water. And the primary question you're asking yourself, is it cold? Most of the time we can make these types of decisions pretty quickly. It's a yes or a no. Do we take that step? Do we make it look pretty with a dive? Or do we do what I normally do and just kind of cannonball? How do we approach each situation? This diving board represents the ultimate decision point, because while there are only 2 decisions, stay dry or get wet, there are several ways to reach your objective. As I've made decisions throughout my life, I realized that for the most part, I jump in. I want to get there. I don't want to make it that pretty. I just want to get it done. But every now and then you come to a decision, perhaps a little bit different than just your traditional diving board. And that's the high dive. And now, as you're climbing the ladder, just to get there, you're noticing the journey's a little bit different. Each step gets you a little bit further from the ground. You're not wondering if it's warm or cold. You're wondering if the engineers were smart enough to make the water deep enough. And as we start to get closer to the top, the air is probably getting colder. It might be getting harder to breathe. Tens of feet off the ground. Oxygen is getting thinner. Not perceptibly, of course. We're probably fine. Our lungs are built to handle that, and it's no different than being on the second story of a house. But your mind starts racing. What could go wrong? What's the next step? Do I dive? What if I land on my back? What if I land on my stomach? Which one would hurt more? What if I go feet first and I break a leg? What if I go head first and I can't find the surface? The higher or more important our decisions become, the more likely we are to analyze and question. And for roughly 8.5 years of my life, I was taught, jump. Don't dive, don't pirouette, don't worry about going backwards or forwards, or don't worry about the temperature of the water, just jump. And the outlook that that provides is both terrifying and refreshing. There's no more decision point. There's no more of the dance along the board as you get closer to the water. You climb, you walk forward, you jump. But life becomes a little bit more complicated than that, doesn't it? I think we can all picture a decision that should have been easy, that took us a little bit of extra time to make. I think we can all picture a time when we made the wrong decision, and now we're trying to figure out how to get back from the water to the top of the diving board. Now, if it's only 2 feet above the water, you might be able to reach up and pull yourself back. But if it's off the high dive, now you've got to climb back out of the water, get back to the ladder, and take it one step at a time. You can't put the water back in the pool any more than you can take back the jump that you just made. Each rung on the ladder has become an influence. It's become an individual decision point. And as you grow and develop, and as I've grown and developed, I've learned that each rung is a choice. It's not the dive, it's the journey. By the time you get there, you should know that you want to make that jump, that leap of faith. Turning 21 was a benchmark. I think everybody can recognize it. Perhaps it was 18 for some, but suddenly you become an adult. The decisions go from what I'm going to wear that day to how I'm going to get safely somewhere, how I'm going to take care of somebody else. And the impact is different. Now you want to learn how to dive. You want to be smooth. You want your hands to enter the water first. You want your head to glide after, your feet to come up. And by now you've already researched the engineers that built this pool and know that they made it perfectly, because there's no way you would take that chance. You have other people that rely on you. As I've come into my 30s, ancient, I know, I've realized that decisions, although they become more important, you're still a kid. You can still jump. You just have to make sure that the time you take to get there, the journey up that ladder, is well thought out. And I encourage you all, especially as we come out of this pandemic era that has been new to all of us, regardless of our age or experience, jump. Feel better about it. Get used to it. And start jumping again. Because life is no different. It's just more of the same.
Thank you, Ryan. If you look at my current background, I have 3 different pictures there. One of which my body is hiding. I will go to the side. And if you look, you'll see a goldfinch on that feeder. Now that is a woodpecker feeder by what it was sold to me as. It has a place to put suet on the one side in a way that you smear the suet. And then there's an area on the inside for seed. Well, the goldfinches didn't read the instruction manual, and they really flock to that feeder and flutter and fight over the 2 locations to get bird seed out of it. Our next speaker will be Jackie Kenney. Stephen Smith is our evaluator. Take it away, Mr. Stephen.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Jackie Kenney is on the motivational strategies pathway, and she will be giving us her icebreaker today, which, as you've already heard, is 4 to 6 minutes in length, and the basic purpose is to introduce herself to the club and learn the basic structure of public speech. And I know you have the title.
Yes, Jackie's title is Back to the Future. Take it away, Jackie.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I like your theme this morning, by the way. At some point, each of us stumbled upon Toastmasters. Either it was a deliberate choice for self-improvement or just taking a shot at something new and running with it. Most of us reinvent ourselves several times over the course of our life. And that allows us to reassess ourselves, our skills, our strengths, analyze our weaknesses. We go from place to place in our life. I was a student. I became a wife. Part of that time was as a wife of a Navy personnel. That's a very different kind of life. I became a mother. I was almost always a working woman. I became a caregiver at some point, and I learned about Toastmasters from several friends, notably Dave and Phil, and also Charlie Deacon and his first wife, Anne. Their encouragement about what Toastmasters involved led me to decide that that was something that I needed in my life at a certain point. Toastmasters allows us to bring ourselves forward in life, to enhance the person that we are, learn new skills, also meet people and make friends. I think that's probably the biggest attraction. Self-improvement is important, of course. Some people have used it to advance in their job, and sometimes that's why we lose members. I've just enjoyed the full experience of Toastmasters, learning and growing and challenging myself at times. And then Pathways. Da-dun. Well, Pathways has been a very unique experience. All of you have been members for quite a while, so you know I was the VP of Ed, kind of helping people engage with Toastmasters and get their feet wet with what is involved in starting to do everything on the computer versus our old faithful books. And then COVID. This has made Pathways a much more unique experience for everyone. The challenge of speaking to an audience that's in front of you in little squares, learning to talk to the camera and emote in a room all by yourself, but still get your ideas across, still express yourself and put some emotion, some vocal variety, as we say in Toastmasters, into your speaking life. I don't know how much more each of us is capable of doing online in our little squares, but I know everyone in this group has challenged themselves. Some of us find it much more challenging than others. I had a challenge over the last few months. The paths that I was in disappeared. I can't get them back. I don't know where they are. I'm hoping TI will respond to me soon and let me know where they've gone and how I can retrieve them. But I started this new free path and we'll see where that leads me. I'm not quite sure. All I know is, as we say all the time, you will never get everything you can out of Toastmasters. You have to stay in Toastmasters to continue to grow and learn and change. And I look forward to seeing all of you again next Thursday morning, working my path. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jackie. I am continuing with the background that I have in place right now. I have a picture of one bird feeder there, but it does not have a traditional bird in it, as you may see. Someone decided to make himself comfortable in that bird feeder. Obviously, I didn't get any birds there that day. Our next speaker, well, actually, now we go into the evaluation portion. Our first evaluator, back to Marty Johnston. You would take it away, Marty.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. This morning I have the privilege to evaluate a fellow DTM, Anne-Marie Lenhart. I had a wonderful experience with Anne-Marie and a few other members, helping her with a project she was working on for her leadership project. Overall, I must say that Anne-Marie then and now is a dedicated professional. You can tell by the way she dresses. She's always very well groomed. She's a beautiful person. She's organized. She told us this morning what she was going to talk about. Then she told us, and then she told us, and then she came full circle back to the beginning. So you definitely excelled at professionalism and organization this morning, Anne-Marie. I liked how during the speech, I heard you talk and you use vocal variety, which sometimes we forget to do. You definitely use vocal variety when you were talking about the phone call that you received and that you were notified that you were to speak at a public event, and how nervous you may have been, the different, you may have been anxious, and then you came across Toastmasters. And I liked the little subtitles you had in your speech and your notes, how you said, from fear to courage. You were talking about your being a New York trainer for a course that you had to present. And also how you complimented Toastmasters on what you learned from the experience, on how you became less fearful and increase your confidence. You personalized the icebreaker, which I think was very helpful, because some of us that may already know you got to know you a little more through your experience that you had. A couple things to work on. I would like to see gradually using more eye contact. If you did have notes, that's fine for an icebreaker, but gradually work to use less notes, speak more from memory and from the heart to personalize it a little more. And to conclude, to challenge yourself, work on more eye contact and speaking more from memory and the heart. Possibly have a couple of bullet points on a note card or a Post-it note about eye level on your computer, on your laptop, if you'd like. So you can it'll be trigger your memory to talk about those key points. Overall, Anne-Marie, I enjoyed your presentation this morning. I look forward to more speeches out of your innovative planning path. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Marty. And I was reminded that I did not ask for a timer's report about our speeches. Mr. Dave Licata, how did we do?
All right, good morning. All right, this 4 to 6 thing has got me puzzled. Anne Marie, you took one too many phone calls. At 7:18, you do not qualify. Ryan Ford, congratulations. You dove in and you completed your laps at 6:12. And Jackie, you quit kind of early at 4:51. So it's Ryan, folks. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
No, Dave, 451 definitely qualifies.
Yeah, they were all 4 to 6, Dave.
So
If they're
Number
4 to
three.
6, if they're 4 to 6, that means that you got a 30-second buffer. Oh, once you hit 4, oh,
Let Dave
Okay.
do some math, guys.
well, I'm distracted because this damn thing won't quit.
Is your abyss working?
Huh?
Is your abyss
What?
working?
Yeah, my
Someone's gonna need to censor our YouTube today.
Yeah.
I don't know, folks. Just if
I
you
think
ever
the
had the
Toastmaster
temptation
will
to,
rule.
if you put
Toastmaster
me,
rules the meeting. Everybody
put-
works for the Toastmaster of the day.
oh, fine, whatever you want to do is cool with me because I can't get my little stopwatch to stop. It's very annoying.
Go back to.
Oh well.
Dave, go back to regular technology with regular stopwatch.
Madam
Yeah,
Toastmaster?
I'll go down to Tom's Diner right now. Anybody got the combination?
Madam Toastmaster, I will put the poll up after we're done with the evaluators.
Okay.
That's okay
All
with
right,
you.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Larry.
I gotta go find a watch.
Well, I
Good
think I'll just
grief.
talk a second while Dave is finding a watch. I now have in my background a picture of a sign that I purchased. It's the National Wildlife Federation has a program where you can have a certified wildlife habitat, which I have done. It is a self-policing thing. You report whether you have food for your animals, cover for your animals, shelter and cover, and water. And then you pay $20 and they send you a little pretty paper certificate, suitable for framing, of course. But if you really want people to know that you've done something special, you can spend a fair amount more money and get one of these other signs put in your yard. Our next evaluator is Mark Campos. Is Dave ready? I don't think so, since he's not standing here. I guess I get to talk some more.
No, I got him
I'm
covered.
here.
I got him.
You're here?
I got
Okay.
a new one. New one.
Hey. All right, Mark Campos, are you ready to do your evaluation?
I'm not sure. It's never been so challenging to follow the timer as it is today, but Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, good morning, and especially Ryan. It is my privilege to evaluate Ryan this morning, who in my opinion is become among the very best that we have here in AM Lockport. I enjoyed your speech greatly this morning. I thought it was a very different, creative, and philosophical approach to an icebreaker. So kudos for that. Now let's talk about Ryan's strengths as a speaker. First and foremost, Ryan, what I greatly admire about your speaking style, whether this is an intentional or whether it's instinctive, I think you are excellent at altering your phrasing, your pacing throughout the speech. You're not shy about incorporating pauses. You'll slow down, you'll speed up. Excellent job with that. I think that is a true talent and you are extremely good at it. Your use of visuals this morning was perfect and it was seamless. You never fumbled, didn't miss a beat. Excellent job with that. No notes used at all. very eloquently relayed, good vocabulary, always looking at the screen. So great job with that, never looking away at notes. And I thought at times you were able to incorporate vocal variety very effectively in your speech. Now, building upon these strengths, I think your speech could have been even more effective in just a couple of ways. On the eye contact front, you were always looking up, which is excellent. There's a difference though. I could see, in my opinion, you were looking more at the screen, which is what I'm doing now. Note the difference. I'm looking at you on the screen, Ryan. I'm looking at other people. I might be sneaking a peek at myself, but my eyes are on this plane. But now I'm looking up at the camera. And I think this is an opportunity for you to just ignore everything that you see on the screen, speak to the camera, and I think it would enable you to more effectively connect with your audience. Second thing, this is a bit of a reach. Your beginning of the speech, very audible, prolonged sigh and a pause. Again, maybe that was intentional for effect, or maybe you were just collecting your thoughts before you jumped into the speech. Maybe a little bit of a punchier opening, again, reaching a little bit. But overall, I thought it was a very thought-provoking and interesting speech. I really appreciated your closing. I thought it was a terrific message for these challenging times and times that we are hopefully beginning to transition away from. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mark. Our last evaluator for today is Mr. Steve Smith. I'll turn the camera more to him and I will let him have it.
Now I'm scared. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Jackie Kenny, I enjoyed your speech this morning. You were talking about yourself, but you were really talking about all of us. I like your phrase, how we all stumbled onto Toastmasters for our own different reasons. I thought that was very accurate. And then you told us of your journey through life as a student, a wife, a mother, and a caregiver. Then you got to the point and you thanked Dave, Charlie, and Phil for introducing you to Toastmasters. And I like the way you said Toastmasters will enhance the person that you are. Even it's about self-improvement, learning, and grooming, but I like the fact that you're saying it's just enhancing what you already have. I loved your delivery. I loved your poise. You were very much at ease. You knew what you wanted to say and you said it, and I like that. And you kept on with your story, talking about moving through Toastmasters, and then came Pathways, where we have to do things on computers instead of books. And some of us find that more challenging than others, and I'll leave that right there. And then came COVID, which threw a monkey wrench into all of our lives, but we pressed on and we found a way to do this. And you said, now we have to learn to work on camera. And that's true. And that brings me to my one criticism. You were saying this, you were very at ease, you're very comfortable in front of the camera. That was my one thing I think you could improve, is do a little more gesturing, which I love gesturing, and I find it tough to do in front of this thing here. That's something we all need to work on. I like the fact you said you will never get everything out of Toastmasters, so it becomes a lifelong commitment to improving yourself. And I think your whole point, this is what I said, you were talking about yourself, but you were really talking about all of us. I enjoyed that, and I thank you very much for bringing us today. And one more thing before I leave, I'd like to share my favorite bird quote. Nevermore. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Steve. Can I have a timer's report, Mr. Dave?
Madam Toastmaster, all three of our evaluators qualified, and if I indeed made you uncomfortable or confused, I'm so happy I did, because that's part of our training.
Well, thank you, Dave.
No problem.
All right, I'm hoping everybody's had time to vote now here. I think at this point, I'll go into the evaluation, the final evaluation. And Mr. Mike Licata, you are our general evaluator. Are you ready to discuss the meeting?
Yes, I am. Good morning again, fellow Toastmasters, Madam Toastmaster, and our guests. Madam Toastmaster, I think you did a great job this morning. I think the theme was wonderful this time of year for everyone, including myself, is very much hopefully looking forward to the spring. And it is very knowledgeable, and you did not overwhelm us with your information, so I have to give you a lot of credit for that. I do also have to give you very much kudos for admitting that you looked forward in the schedule and you've been preparing this for multiple weeks, because I know myself and a lot of our fellow Toastmasters in this club don't do enough work in preparing for schedules down the road. I know I usually don't look ahead, and I think you encouraged us to pay attention more to what's coming up in the next couple of weeks and months. So I give you credit for that much preparation. Our three evaluators had a very unique experience this morning, because they all essentially were evaluating the same speech, which is everyone was doing an icebreaker as we continue to transition in pathways. The other nice thing is that I think a lot of because the evaluators were so experienced, that they kind of tackled each evaluation a little bit differently. They went away from the more traditional sandwich approach, but they did all three of our evaluators did do a good job of offering how each speaker could improve, how what each speaker did well, and all three of our many experienced speakers evaluators did a great job this morning. And I do want to commend you on handling curveballs thrown your way this morning as well. And that is my report. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator, or Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mike. At this point, then I will start going to our other reports. First, I will do grammarian. Carol Ann, how did we do?
Everyone did well today. There were, in my opinion, no glaring grammatical errors. One thing that Sylvia did use the phrase "like I said," and I know I use that a little bit more than I should when I'm starting to tell somebody something. It's just like say it, not like I said. And all these speakers had such a command of the English language. They all just do so well. The one thing I noticed, because it had been pointed out to me when I gave some type of a speech in high school, I picked up Ryan saying more because than because, and that is just in my mind, because it was, I said it wrong right there. It was pointed out to me. And Jackie using emote as a verb, and Marty used but I think we did very well for having to speak so early in the morning. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Carol Ann. Our next report will be from Jen Zapla, our tech and gesture master. Take it away, Jen.
All right, thank you, Jill. I have lots of interesting things to report on today. I noticed during our table topics portion of the meeting, interestingly, all three of our participants were slightly off-centered and also wearing glasses. I thought that was a bit notable. Now, Moklis took some of my notes from the last time I was Tech and Gesture Master and did a great job leaning into the camera to emphasize some of his points, so I wanted to give him kudos for that. Margo and Dave had some excellent gestures, not during any speaking portion of the meeting today, because Margo has never been to Reed's and Dave was devastated by it. I appreciate us beginning to sneak those gestures in on camera. Anne Marie, during her speech today, and I believe her evaluator may have noted some of these things, was using notes and it was noticeable that she was looking down. She did lean in and she put her hand, her chin on her hand, which I thought was an interesting thing to do. I'm not sure how effective it was at that particular moment. It probably could be effective though to do that. So I wanted to let her know that she had done it. I also appreciated Anne-Marie's background today. It really fit the old analog version of Toastmasters. I could see all those papers in the background and I thought it was kind of funny since you were mentioning you weren't so sure how you liked the digital world. I like the digital world because I don't want to have all those papers in my background, but I thought it was funny. Ryan used backgrounds today for his speech. And he was very straight and solid. I don't know if his head moved. It was just very, just very subtle if it did move. You were very solidly situated though. Jackie, I actually thought you used hand gestures quite well today. I saw your hands more than I saw anyone else's. Mark also had some good hand gestures and also some head gestures. He was emphasizing with both his hand and his head. And I wanted to also give kudos to some of our non-speaking people today. I noticed that Len, Kate, Eric, and Margo all have pictures on their away. So if they go off video, they have a picture, which is kind of nice for our speakers, particularly during the middle portion of the meeting. People tend to turn off their camera. Maybe they're grabbing a drink or doing whatever they need to do. And sometimes the screen starts to look a little blank if you're looking at all those little black squares. So it's nice to have those pictures. It makes it seem a little less blank. Jill, Larry, and Moklis all used backgrounds today to emphasize some of their points and to bring into the theme of the meeting a little bit more, which I thought was also very effective. So those are my notes today, Jill, and I will turn it back over to you, our Toastmaster.
Why, thank you, Jen. As we keep fluttering through things here, I have 3 websites that I'm going to put up on the chat for people to look at. 2 of them are actually apps. Well, actually, all 3 of them are apps. Merlin Bird ID is put up by the Cornell Lab of Ornithology, and Audubon Bird ID is put out by Audubon. They are both very good for taking your phone or laptop or whatever and using different features of the bird to help you identify. And they both have sections where there is all the bird songs as well. Cornell actually has the biggest library of bird songs in the world, as far as from what I've heard. Cornell also puts out a program called eBird, which is where you log in and identify the birds that you've been seeing. It's kind of an electronic bird list. Our next report will be from our Master. Tom Moran, how did we do?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I was excited to do the Master job this morning. I wrote down everybody's name and I was anxious to make notes next to them and give a lengthy report about all the ahs and ums. What I noticed, however, was that I think the Master job for this particular club is becoming obsolete. I noticed just 2 ahs and 1 throughout the entire meeting, and they're not worth identifying the individual who who made them, Sylvia, but it's a job that is, becoming, like I say, obsolete. So maybe we should consider dropping it from the schedule the next time around when we make the schedule up again. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tom. That is an interesting assessment. I think our last role is Ward Master. How fluttery did we do? Dr. Stevens.
I'm Toastmaster. The word of the day did okay in the second portion of the meeting. Anne Marie used it twice in her speech. Ryan used it once. Nancy used it in the chat, and Jill used it twice. So good job overall, everybody using it that did. And if I missed any, I apologize. Madam Toastmaster.
Okay, I did forget one job. Fortunately, I have Steve here to point it out to me. Katie, give us a test.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster, and Steve for reminding her. Thank you. Okay, what a wonderful topic today. This was fun, and I'm so grateful that you did let us know in advance. I invited a few of my friends to join us today who are bird watchers or birders, but they couldn't attend. But that's a great way to invite guests. So remind us to have our themes. Look ahead at your schedule and have a good solid theme, not just pull it out the Monday before the meeting or the Tuesday before the meeting. Okay, what is the name of a person who studies birds or is an expert on birds? Unmute yourselves, folks, to answer.
It's a birder.
Ornithologist.
There we go. We got into the science of it, ornithologist, but also bird watchers and birders. I didn't really know the difference. That was cool. We didn't have an master today. Instead, we had what?
Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz. Always funny. I don't think we can let go of it yet, but it's good news to hear that we were doing pretty well today. What kind of bird did Margot receive as a birthday gift?
Cockatiel.
And what was its name?
Corky.
Corky the cockatiel. How many new DTMs does our club have since this last year, 2020?
5. I don't know.
5.
40,
We had our
50.
annual picnic last year, but we need a celebration still when we can. Jackie mentioned the free what from TI? The free
pass.
Free pass. Show of hands. Who has claimed theirs? Show of hands. Okay, that was about a third. I'll be honest, I haven't either, but what's the deadline, folks?
March 31st.
End of March, so get that in. That's my last question. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Katie. I don't have anything else. I don't know how much more I can talk about the birds.
Oh, we just had a guest jump in.
Yeah, I see
Julio.
that.
Julio, welcome back, Julio.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back.
Hi, Julio.
Hi.
Can we do anything for you, like fix your alarm clock?
Hey, it's really early in Mexico City. Come on.
I know.
Our topic today, Julio, is bird watching, and we're just wrapping it up. So if you have anything to add, and you can stick around as well. I don't know what kind of birds are in Mexico
We're
City.
glad you came by.
All right, Jill.
It's time to say good, hi for you folks.
It's nice to see you again.
Thank you very much.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you, David.
Julio has different birds down there than we do, that's for sure. All the birds that migrate down there. I'm not sure how close he is to the monarch place. But I'm going to hand it over to our president, James Bond 007.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And actually, there is a fun fact about that name. There is a real-life James Bond who was actually a bird watcher. I just found it out on Wikipedia, which was very fascinating to read that. So, in honor of our thing today. So, anyway. What am I doing? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can't get rid of that role yet.
Yeah, we can't. Okay, our winners this morning. Okay, now I'm on track. Our best table topics winner today is MARGO Sue Bittner. Our best evaluator today is Mark Campos. And our best speaker of the day today is Jackie Kenney. Congratulations to Jackie.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right, are there any final thoughts? Or
one announcement, I mentioned this in the chat as well, but there is an area contest coming up on March 6th. And if anyone is interested in helping out with that, I believe they're still looking for some role holders. So just let me know. And I had CC'd you on an email. It's myself and Adam Hammer. So Adam is coordinating that effort, but I'll put you in touch with him if you want to let me know if you're interested in helping out.
Jan, is that in the morning?
I believe it is going to be in the morning. And I think he said like 8 to noon is the timing that he's expecting, but I'll let Adam confirm that.
I think you could offer Dave Licata as timer for the contest. He might, I think he has that morning free in his schedule.
Yeah, anyone besides Dave who's interested in volunteering. Thank you.
Wow. Shade.
Wow.
well, Dave, we gotta get you a computer so we can maybe have you put.
I've got, how many computers do I need? I got 2 in this room, a tablet, and my phone. And Michael saved the day by bringing me Paul's iPod. And Michael has just shown his disgust with his daddy by turning the lights out in Studio A here at 142 Allen Street. God.
We are having an officers meeting after the meeting, so during post toasties, but we can have a breakout room for that. So everyone else is, of course, welcome to stay for post toasties, and hope to see you tonight at the social hour and speech-a-thon.
Marty has hands raised. Marty has hands raised. Marty?
Yes, thank you, Eric. I just wanted to thank all the membership for allowing me to practice my extemporaneous skills at Toastmasters during table topics and also during my speeches, because last night I had the opportunity to interview, it was a round robin, if you will, for the club growth director position for the district, for our District 65. And I can honestly say that I felt very comfortable and confident answering questions from 5 of the panelists. I had no problem. I did have to ask them to repeat or rephrase a question, which I don't think was a problem, but I definitely felt comfortable and confident speaking off the cuff regarding the club growth director position. And just FYI, I'm not guaranteed the position. There are other people that applied for it. And I should know within a month or so,